G'day, welcome here to Tenterfield Firearms. We're going to have a quick chat about knives. I'm a big fan of knives. I'm very prone to carrying a blade of some description every day. But when you're out hunting, fishing, that sort of thing, you're obviously going to need different knives for different tools. You can try and get by with one knife to do every task, but it's going to do a lot of tasks suboptimally and some tasks very poorly indeed. So each blade is really a specialist tool. It's again like golf clubs or fishing rods. You're going to need more than one realistically to do a good job of being an all-round hunter and fisherman. There's different blades for different tasks. So to start off with, let's just talk a little brief bit about quality. Just in terms of hunting blades, like anything, the more you spend, the better your outcome's going to be. Life really is too short to be looking through cheap glass, and it really is definitely far too short to be using cheap knives. You can get hunting knives from China that look the part, but you'll find the steel will be very hard and very brittle. So it'll, or alternatively, and probably worse, it'll be very soft. So it'll sharpen up really well, but it'll blunt very fast. And the better steels that you get with more expensive knives are definitely worth it. And make sure you are getting the actual knife that you're paying for. Oftentimes you'll find very convincing knockoffs of reputable knives on the internet, and you'll be like, oh, a Benchmade for $40. That sounds like a bargain. Well, it's not. It's not a Benchmade at all. It's a ripoff. So, this is a little Chinese knife. Now, the reason I would recommend against buying this knife, although it is in the counter, it's a second handy for sale, but the reason I'd recommend it, it's not a full tang. Now, if you're serious about getting a hunting and fishing, camping type knife, you really want to get a full tang knife, which means basically the difference between a full tang and what's not a full tang, you can see the gap there. That gap means that the knife comes down to like a rat's tail into the handle, and it basically puts a structural weak point on the knife. Now, knives, look, they make very poor yet very expensive pry bars. Really don't use them for prying and things like that, but you don't want a weak point on the knife regardless, and that is definitely a weak point. Same with most of the K-bar patterns and things like that all have that same sort of rat's tail effect on the knife. So it's not a full tang knife. Your full tang knife, the blade goes right through the handle, as you can see, both sides, and it's just a solid piece of steel with scales on either side. That gives you a lot better functionality. There's no weak point on the blade other than probably the grind point. Just going to be a better outcome for you all around. This is a Benchmade that I had Justin Ogg from Ogg Knife Sharpening sharpen this. You can find him on Ogg Sharpening, oggsharpening.com.au. It's just, you can see the edge on that. It's just shaving sharp. So, look, just worth getting your knives professionally sharpened. It really does make a big difference. So, that said, you got a perfect little all-round skinning knife like this Benchmade, or you could get something a bit more serious like this one. I also bought this from Justin off his website. This is specifically, it's a European design pigging knife. This thing is heavy, it's cumbersome, it's obviously full tang, it's built like it's going out of style. Would you want to clean rabbits with this? No. Would you want to clean anything with this? Not really. Could you do it? Absolutely. But would it be practical for that? No. This is more generally a pigging knife for stabbing pigs and that sort of thing. Very, very impractical for doing little skinning jobs and things like that. Whereas you get a little skinning knife like this, perfect for skinning rabbits, skinning deer, that sort of thing. Would I want to stab a pig with it? Not so much. So again, horses for courses, knives doing what they should be used for, as opposed to trying to get something that really isn't suitable for the task you're asking of it. This is another pigging type knife, double-edged for stabbing pigs. Great thing, but you can see again, this is not a full tang knife. It's got a weak point here. Looks the goods, but in terms of rugged, this would be much more practical and rugged than this any day of the week. I mean, this is a lovely knife, don't get me wrong. Beautiful balance on it, but this would be a little bit more practical and better for a lot of those sort of tasks if you're a pig hunter, that sort of thing. So something to think about. Different knife types for different horses. This is something I've been carrying lately. A friend of mine got me these at Bunnings. These are Fisker's shears, and they're fantastic for dressing bunnies and ducks and things like that. They've got a blunt tip on it. They've got this little divot here which just snips through rabbit's legs like nobody's business. Got a sharpening blade, sharpening sort of stone on it, ceramic sharpening to keep it sharp. Little wire cutter at the back. Bottle opener, that sort of thing. They're just really cheap and so handy. And in theory, I think you could probably do a deer. I haven't done one yet, but I think you could do a deer quite handily, just snipping off the skin. But they certainly do the business on rabbits and hares and that sort of thing, and ducks and what have you.
I can't help you with that.
Oh, Siri, you're the worst. Be quiet. That's that new update. She basically listens out all the time and wants to be, chatting with me. It's very annoying. Another thing I carry, little multi-tool. They're light. They're sensational. Again, you get what you pay for. Buy a decent brand like Leatherman or Swiss Army, something like that, rather than a $15, Aldi special. You've obviously got a blade and things like that, but that's very handy if you get a scope ring stuck or what have you. You've got screwdrivers and other bits and pieces on them. So if you did need to, tidy up a mount ring or something like that on your rifle or your fishing reel, if a screws come loose, just a really handy little tool to carry around. All right, well, I've waffled on enough about knives for the moment. We did a podcast about knives not too long ago on Rod and Rifle Radio. Feel free to look that up and hear me blather on a bit more about blades. Other than that, we'll see you next time.